to complete this imagination. Because
and participation, you know.
Right, you see, because there's no recreation center activities for youth that live in the city of Detroit, you know, this side of the border, I mean this side of the freeway. And so it'd be an ideal spot where it is, and we just build on that spot to continue on with renewing, rebuilding of the Brewster Center, Brewster Wheeler Center.
Right. And from my understanding, the Brewster Wheeler Recreation Center wasn't just for the residents there at Brewster Douglass, it was for everybody.
Oh, yeah, right.
I know people that said that they live cross town.
Exactly.
Downtown, whatever, but they knew about the Brewster Wheeler Center. And you know, other project kids, like from Parkside, Herman Gardens, you know, the Jeffries, they all came together. You know, Sojourner Truth, they all came together, you know, and that kept us unified as one unit, you know, a building.
Yes, indeed.
You know,
yes, indeed.
whether it was sports, music, or just, you know, the community itself.
Yes. So, but and then you spoke earlier about us, how the Red Wing would participate in activities. I remember that was a legendary swimmer that came out of Hollywood. Johnny Wiseman, he portrayed Tarzan in the movies. And I understand that he swam here at Brewster Center. So again, and Johnny Wiseman, if you go into the history of Tarzan movies, you see he was the most popular actor at that time, and so he found it interesting enough to be down competing swimming here at Brewster Center. So there's a lot of history that can be unearthed in regards to the history of Brewster Center. And Bobby Wilson, whom I think you might have met, Bobby Wilson is an excellent source of information because he grew up down there, participated and played in all the sports.
And his father was a boxer too.
His father was a swimmer, so Bobby is very, very knowledgeable.
His father was it Buddy Wilson? His father?
I'm not sure his dad's name, but I knew that he had not an athletic involvement. Over Wilson, right. So there's history, and there's still a few people that's around that will be able to help you further on this project that you're.
Right. What can, last but not least, what can the new learn from the old? In anything?
The only thing that we can show anyone is how we did certain things, a lifestyle that we live, and you can apply that to your lifestyle that you choose to live in. Because again, we learn from the past to make a better future, you know. Because the present is right now, but the future is in front of us, just as the past is behind us. So the only thing we can do with the present is to learn from the past to make a better future.
Right.
So hopefully that's what the young folks can get from us, is an understanding of the past.
Right. And how was the life in Black Bottom, Paradise Valley, Hastings Street compared to now?
Oh my gosh, it was the difference. In my opinion, certainly that we didn't. Right now, you refer to Detroit as the hood. Detroit, when I grew up, was a city of communities and neighborhoods. It was nothing negative to define Detroit. You know, we've allowed that to happen within our own community. We refer to Detroit as the hood. Detroit is a city that should be made up of neighborhoods. And this is what we had during my generation, was neighborly activities. If you were friends with a fellow that lived across the street from you, you became a part of a nuclear family. You know, the family extended house to house, street to street, and so that's the difference. Unlike now, you know, you got people that don't speak to one another, you know, are very hostile toward one another. Kids fight kids. That never happened in my group. You didn't fight a neighbor, friend. We didn't have. We have some tussles, but it was nothing like these incidents that's going on now. You know, if you had a problem with a boy, y'all have a fist fight, and that was it. It wasn't about gun fair, welfare, burning houses down. The hostilities just didn't exist during my generation. It was all about a giving and a sharing, unlike now. You know. So again, it's an understanding that that how you mentally see yourself, this is how you actually will become. And if you have to walk around, you know, with a frown on your face and looking for the next fight, you'll always find it, you know, rather than looking for the next friend. You know, if you go through life looking for friendship, you'll find that. But if you go through life expecting hostility and acting in a hostile way, that's why it's going to be.
Right, but if you had an opportunity to go back in that era, Hastings Street, Paradise Valley, Black Bottom, would you?
Oh yeah, well, yes, in the sense that to relive that experience. I'm writing, so I'm doing a piece. I'm working on a project about Hastings Street, and one of the things, a couple of songs I've been involved in, written, and one of the lines I have in song is that. The best days I had was then making boyhood memories on Hastings Street. Because back then I was a paper boy. My dad died when I was 2. So by the time I turned 12 in our community of boys growing up in Detroit, when we turned 12, we were expected to get paper route. And this is what we did. Once you got your paper route, well then you became the early stages of manhood, because in my mother's house, my mother she wasn't working. And so when I got 12 and got a paper route, I started buying my own clothes. Expected that I started working in June, getting ready to go to school in September. Then you go downtown, you put something in the layaway, and you paid. It wasn't right now, it's not instant gratification. We had a realization about we had to work and earn things and build things, and that's how we did it, through layaway. We didn't have to have all the money. Now it's about right now. So when I turned 12 and got my first paper route, then it was all over. And I was expected to have contests as paper boys during the holidays, Christmas and Thanksgiving. We'd have to go out and recruit customers, and if we recruit so many customers, we could earn a ham or a turkey based on how many. So it was an incentive for us to get out there and hustle. We had to go knock door to door trying to get new customers. And if we didn't do that in my household, if I didn't get enough customers, then I had to buy it. I had to go, because I was getting $1, $2, whatever a week. So fine, you go and you know, so you had to go on and put money in the pocket and buy it. That was my responsibility. When I turned 12 or 13, you had to go and contribute.
Wow.
So it was
but it did you some good, huh?
No question. And my son, when I had my son growing up, he couldn't do that. But my thing was trying to get him a paper route. It's about not being dependent on me. It's unheard of. You turned 18, you was out the house.
Right.
Not like now. You got young guys, 25, 30 years old, still living with their mama. You know, mama boys, because we were programmed to be men earlier than these boys are programmed to be lame boys.
Same with the females. You know, you had them in that kitchen, you had them cleaning, you had them, something dealing with watching their sisters and brothers. You know, clean the house. Yeah.
But you know, the genie's out the bottle now, and growing up for me then versus now is we didn't have, say, welfare. And welfare in my opinion, one of the things that really affected us as a community, very negative, because it should have been like it is versus somewhat now. It's limited. It became a profession for too many women. I was a counselor in a training program when I moved back here from California, and I was trying to get dropouts to go back to school, young girls who had babies, to get them to work on their GED, and we would get them entry-level jobs at McDonald's, and all of them were in that good jobs. Anyway, but then they passed a law raising. Because at one point, if you had a baby, that's what you got, but they passed the law, the government passed the law that each child, subsequently a woman, got a raise. Every time these young girls got pregnant, they got another baby, they got some more money, food stamps went up, the government was paying the vouchers, and I was trying to get these young girls, baby, don't go back to school, the girl told me it's more beneficial for me to keep having babies. And that was true. But they eventually stopped that now. I think now there's a limit as to how long.
So you think handicappers did more harm than good?
Oh yeah, because again, and on the same note, because I'm saying this too, because at that time, like the young girl got pregnant, she had to stay up, but they gave them, they passed a law liberating them or something. until they became head of their own household at 17, 18 years old.
So that brought the father out the house, the head of the house out the house.
But
the structure just went downhill from there.
You give a young girl this kind of leeway to rest their lives up with no checks and balances. Because when you was there at home, you stayed with your mom and dad, and you abided.
And it was a solid foundation. When you had your father, the head of the house, you know, your mother was there as the nurturer, you know, and everything. Your father was the provider. You know, the foundation structure of family was more solid. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Again, and this is, and it's kind of hard because I was raised, my mother raised me on welfare. My dad died, but like I said, they didn't have spousal benefits or anything at the post office when he died. So my mother didn't have any income